In this week's news, storms on the way, Asia-Pacific warning. Brutal Kenya killings target Christians. And clearer nutrition labels in Aussie supermarkets.
This is InFocus Christian News and Current Affairs.
Australia's closest neighbours are at increased risk of cyclones, flooding and drought over the next 6 months, thanks to El Niño climate fluctuations. The warning comes from the UN's Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific. The Commission says warmer ocean temperatures set the scene for wet season weather extremes in a region where economies are fragile and infrastructure is limited. Christian aid agencies are among the organisations preparing for the worst.
These cyclones really affect the poorest of the poor. It seems to be that they're the ones that are located in the areas where we have flooding. So here we have people who are subsistence farmers who are without not only a means of an income, but food security as well.
Religious extremists from Somalia have struck on Kenyan soil again, this time killing 28 people, deliberately singling out non-Muslims for execution-style killings. According to Bloomberg.com, the Al-Shabaab militants stopped a civilian bus at gunpoint and separated and shot any non-Somalis who couldn't read from the Quran, along with Somalis who protested their actions. In a public statement, Al-Shabaab alleged their victims were Christians who supported the Kenyan government's recent crackdown on mosques accused of spreading extremist views. And still in Kenya, religious freedom advocates are worried after the government put a hold on registration of any new religious organisations. According to Christianity Today, the crackdown came after a Christian healing ministry was accused on television of asking supporters to pay in advance for prayer and miracles. Police are investigating. The head of Kenya's Evangelical Alliance has called the government's ban on new churches persecution and warned that Christians will resist. After decades of debate, the Church of England has voted through a policy change that will allow women priests to be appointed as bishops. According to the BBC, women's ordination has proceeded carefully in the Church of England, with women being permitted to serve as deacons in 1985 and as priests in 1992. In 2012, the vote to introduce women bishops failed by just 6 votes at the General Synod. This year's result could see women serving as bishops as early as next year. And in another change of policy, the Vatican has lifted the ban on married priests for Eastern Catholic churches in North and South America and Australia. Since 1438, when churches in Lebanon, Ukraine, India and elsewhere began to rejoin the Catholic Church, their tradition of married clergy has been respected. The difficulty has come, however, when Eastern Rite Catholics established migrant congregations in parts of the world traditionally led by celibate clergy from the Western Latin Rite Church. Pope Francis has now approved the change that will allow Eastern Rite churches to continue with their traditions regardless of their location. A 700% return is an investor's dream, and that's exactly what one Christian aid agency is offering on behalf of the world's hungry. The Adventist Development and Relief Agency operates around 90 hunger and agriculture projects around the world, everything from emergency food relief to garden and nutrition training. Because of co-funding agreements, they're able to add $6 to every dollar donated for their hunger program. ADRA fed nearly 7 million people last year, but says 1 out of 9 people around the world are still dealing with hunger and malnutrition. Startling statistics from the Solomon Islands show that 2 out of 3 women have suffered violence at the hand of an intimate partner, and that for 38% of women, their first sexual experience was forced. Researchers say that while religious and cultural values can hide or excuse the problem, they can also be part of the solution. World Vision's Channels of Hope program brings together faith leaders for workshops on biblical responses to tough social issues, including violence against women.
Faith plays a really big part in Solomon culture, especially faith leaders are seen as influential people in most communities. go for it. We work with faith leaders and train them on channels of hope, basically exploring the Bible and what it says about gender relations.
It is one of the best trainings I have had. I think not one of the best, I think the best. It had a biblical approach. As a pastor, I fit in well with that one.
Thanks to strong lobbying by health and consumer groups, Australian shoppers will increasingly see clearer health information appearing on packaged foods. According to Food Magazine, iconic Aussie breakfast cereal Weet-Bix is one of the first products to display the new Health Star rating labels. Weet-Bix is manufactured by Sanitarium Health and Wellbeing, a not-for-profit company owned and operated by the Seventh-day Adventist Church. The Health Star rating labels are a voluntary initiative at this stage. New Zealand and Australian authorities will review the scheme after 2 years. The labels have been controversial, with the Food and Grocery Council and junk food companies resisting the change. Setting aside a plot of land for a community garden is something a number of churches are doing. But what if your church is in the middle of the city? St Canisius Catholic Church at King's Cross in Sydney's tough inner city looked up for inspiration and decided that they could build their garden on a roof. With the help of local businesses, St Canisius employed 4 asylum seekers to construct the garden space, complete with raised garden beds and a barbecue area. The congregation wants their community garden to provide meaningful activity for more asylum seekers, many of whom are legally prevented from paid employment. There are probably thousands of farm boys in America's South dreaming of playing professional football, but chances are there's only one football player who was dreaming of farming. Jason Brown was a highly ranked centre for the St. Louis Rams when he gave up a $35 million contract to grow sweet potatoes and cucumbers in North Carolina. According to Mail Online, Brown says that although he had no experience in farming, he was called by God to leave the NFL, grow food, and give it to the needy. After years of land rehabilitation, First Fruits Farm has just delivered its first harvest, 45 tons of sweet potatoes. Jason Brown says he plans to give away twice as much next year. That's the news for this week. Thanks for watching.